They say the moment before you surrender your life to God, the devil offers you his sweetest temptation. For me, that temptation had dark eyes, a Korean accent that melted like honey on sin, and hands that mapped every curve of my body like I was something worth worshipping. I was supposed to forget him. I was supposed to kneel before an altar and pledge my forever to heaven. But 24 hours ago, I was just Maya, a plus-size black girl with curves that wouldn't quit, zero self-confidence, and a one-way ticket to becoming a bride of Christ. And 12 hours ago, in a dimly lit hotel bar in Los Angeles, I made a choice that would shatter everything. I let a beautiful Korean stranger with dangerous eyes and hands that knew exactly where to touch me ruin me for holy vows. Beat of silence. Now I'm standing in this Seoul chapel, white veil trembling in my hands, staring at the man kneeling 3 rows back. The same man whose name I moaned last night. The same man whose lips tasted like whiskey and forbidden promises. The same man who doesn't belong in a church. Not with that predatory grace. Not with that darkness swimming behind his perfect smile. And the same man whose eyes are locked on mine right now, burning through my habit, my vows, my every defense, telling me without words that last night wasn't goodbye. It was just the beginning. My name is Sister Grace, or at least that's who I'm supposed to be. But he knows the truth. He knows I'm still Maya, underneath these holy robes, and God help me. Part of me wants him to remind me. Before we dive into my impossible choice, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. This forbidden romance is about to get spicy, and you don't want to miss a single sinful episode. Drop a comment telling me, Team Vows or Team Temptation? Now, let's go back to where it all began. 24 hours earlier, I was drowning. Not literally, though the amount of overpriced Merlot I was pouring down my throat at the Millennium Biltmore Hotel bar probably qualified as a cry for help. I sat alone on a burgundy leather bar stool, my thick thighs spreading comfortably on the seat, because I'd stopped trying to make myself smaller years ago. My dress, a deep emerald number that hugged every curve, every roll, every inch of the body I'd spent my whole life apologizing for, was my last act of defiance. Tomorrow, I would cover it all, hide it under layers of black and white fabric, become invisible, safe. The bartender, a middle-aged white man with kind eyes, slid another glass toward me. Rough night? Last night, I corrected him, my voice thick with wine and regret. My last night. He raised an eyebrow, but didn't press. Smart man. I wasn't ready to explain that in less than 24 hours, I'd be on a plane to Seoul. That I was running away from a life that never wanted me. From a family that looked at my dark skin and full figure with barely concealed disappointment. From a string of men who fetishized my body but never saw me. From a world that told me I was too much and not enough all at once. The convent had sent me the letter 3 months ago. We see your devotion, Sister Maya. Your calling is clear. You will complete your final vows at Sacred Heart Chapel in Seoul. My calling. What a beautiful lie. I lifted my glass to my lips, ready to drown the voice in my head that whispered I was a fraud. You look like you're running from something. The voice was smooth, accented, dangerous. It slid over my skin like silk and sin. I turned, and there he was, God's final test. He stood 3 feet away, hands casually tucked in the pockets of a perfectly tailored black suit that probably cost more than my entire year's stipend. Tall, maybe 6 feet, with the kind of face that belonged on billboards or in trouble. Sharp jawline, full lips curved in the hint of a smile, and eyes so dark they looked like they held secrets worth dying for. Korean. Definitely Korean. With that effortless elegance that made me acutely aware of how American and unpolished I was. Maybe I'm running towards something, I heard myself say, surprising us both. His smile widened. Mind if I join you in running, then? I should have said no. I should have finished my wine, paid my tab, and gone back to my room to pray for strength. Instead, I gestured to the empty stool beside me. He sat down, and suddenly the air felt thicker, charged. Jiwon, he said, extending a hand. Kang Jiwon. Maya? I took his hand, and the contact sent electricity straight up my arm. His fingers were long, elegant, but there was strength there, hidden power. He held my hand a moment longer than necessary, his thumb brushing across my knuckles. Beautiful name, Maya. It means illusion in Sanskrit. You know Sanskrit? I know a lot of useless things. His eyes traveled over my face, not with the hungry assessment I was used to, but with genuine curiosity. What are you running from, Maya? Myself, mostly. The wine had loosened my tongue. What about you? Responsibility, expectations, a life I never asked for. He signaled the bartender. Macallan 18, neat, and whatever she's having. I've had enough. Have one more. His voice dropped lower, intimate. Keep me company. I should have left. God, I should have left. But when was the last time someone looked at me like I was the most interesting person in the room? When was the last time I felt seen? One more, I whispered. 2 hours later, we were still talking. I learned he was in Los Angeles on business. He was vague about the details, but the way his jaw tightened when he mentioned his family told me everything I needed to know. Complicated, painful, binding. He learned I was starting a new chapter tomorrow, though I danced around the specifics. Something about him made me want to be honest, but some truths were too fragile to speak aloud. You're different, he said suddenly, his eyes studying my face in the dim bar light. You carry yourself like you're apologizing for taking up space. I froze, the wine glass halfway to my lips. Excuse me. I don't mean it as an insult. He leaned closer, and I could smell his cologne, something expensive and woody with a hint of citrus. I mean, you shouldn't apologize. You're... He paused, searching for words. Magnificent. My breath caught. You don't know me? I know you have eyes that hold entire universes. I know you laugh like your surprised joy still exists. I know your curves would make ancient goddesses jealous. His voice dropped to a whisper. And I know you're terrified of your own power. Tears pricked my eyes. No one had ever. Dance with me, he said suddenly. There's no music. There's always music. He stood, offering his hand. One dance, Maya, before you run toward whatever's waiting for you tomorrow. This was insane. I was leaving for the convent in the morning. I was supposed to be preparing my soul, not letting a devastatingly beautiful stranger pull me onto an empty hotel bar floor. But I took his hand anyway. He pulled me close, one hand settling on the curve of my waist, the other intertwining with my fingers. We swayed to the soft jazz playing from invisible speakers, and I let myself melt into him. You fit perfectly, he murmured against my ear. I'm too. Perfect, he insisted, his hand sliding lower on my back, pulling me closer. You're perfect, exactly as you are. I looked up at him, and the intensity in his eyes stole my breath. This wasn't just attraction. This was hunger, raw and barely contained. Jiwon? I whispered, not even sure what I was asking for. Tell me to stop, he breathed, his lips inches from mine. Tell me you don't feel this, and I'll walk away. I couldn't. God help me. I couldn't. I have to leave tomorrow, I said instead. I can't, whatever this is. It ends tonight. Something dark flashed in his eyes. Pain? Acceptance. Then give me tonight, Maya. Give me this one night to worship you the way you deserve. My heart was racing so fast, I thought it might explode. Every rational part of my brain was screaming at me to run, to remember who I was supposed to become. But for once, just this once, I wanted to be Maya. Not the fat girl, not the disappointment, not the almost none, just Maya. Wanted, desired, alive. Yes, I breathed. His eyes went molten. Say it again. Yes. The elevator ride to his floor was torture. We stood on opposite sides, trying to maintain propriety, but the air between us crackled with electricity. Every time the elevator dinged at another floor, I thought about running, escaping. But then I'd catch his reflection in the polished doors, the way he watched me, like I was something precious and dangerous all at once, and my feet stayed rooted. The doors opened on the penthouse floor. Of course. Penthouse. He led me down a quiet hallway, his hand on the small of my back, burning through the fabric of my dress. At the door to his suite, he paused. Last chance, Maya, he said softly. No judgment, no questions. You can walk away. I reached past him and pushed the door open myself. His sharp intake of breath was my reward. The suite was massive, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the LA skyline, modern furniture that screamed money, a king-sized bed visible through an open doorway. But I barely registered any of it, because Jiwon was pulling me into his arms, his mouth finally, crashing onto mine. The kiss was everything. Desperate and searching, like we were both trying to pour our loneliness and longing into this one connection. His hands tangled in my hair, tilting my head back as he deepened the kiss, and I melted against him, every curve of my body pressing into the hard planes of his. Beautiful, he murmured against my lips. So damn beautiful. He walked me backward toward the bedroom, never breaking the kiss, his hands exploring, my waist, my hips, the curve of my back. When my legs hit the edge of the bed, he pulled back, breathing hard. Are you sure? His voice was rough with restraint. In answer, I reached for the zipper of my dress. His hand covered mine. Let me. He turned me around gently, and I felt him slowly, torturously slowly, pull the zipper down. His fingers traced the newly exposed skin of my back, and I shivered. Cold? He murmured. No. My voice was barely a whisper. Nervous? Don't be. He pressed a kiss to my shoulder. I've got you. The dress pooled at my feet, leaving me in just my black lace underwear. I started to cover myself. Old habits. But he caught my hands. Don't hide from me, he said, turning me to face him. His eyes roamed over my body with undisguised appreciation. You're a goddess, Maya. Every inch of you. And then he was kissing me again, his hands everywhere, showing me exactly how much he meant it. He kissed down my neck, across my collarbone, worshipping every curve, every roll, every part of me I'd been taught to hate. Perfect, he kept murmuring between kisses. You're perfect. When he laid me back on the bed, I stared up at him as he shrugged out of his jacket, loosened his tie. The muscles beneath his shirt were lean and defined, and, When he pulled it over his head, I forgot how to breathe. He was beautiful. Dangerous. Mine for tonight. He climbed onto the bed, settling between my thighs, and looked down at me with such intensity, I felt stripped bare in more ways than physical. "Tell me what you want," he commanded softly. "I want to feel alive," I whispered. "Just for tonight. I want to feel wanted." "You are wanted." He kissed me deeply, his body pressing into mine. "You are so wanted, Maya." What followed was a revelation. He touched me like I was art, like every curve was a masterpiece to be appreciated, every gasp a symphony to be conducted. He learned my body with the dedication of a scholar and the passion of a man possessed. When he finally joined us together, I gasped at the completeness of it, like pieces clicking into place. "Look at me," he commanded, his voice strained with control. "I want to see you." I opened my eyes, meeting his dark gaze, and something passed between us. Something neither of us had expected. This was supposed to be one night. No strings, no complications. But as he moved above me, inside me, around me, as I wrapped my legs around his waist and pulled him deeper, I knew we were both lying to ourselves. "Jiwon," I gasped as pleasure built, spiraling higher and higher. "I've got you," he promised, his lips finding mine. "Let go, Maya. I've got you." And I did. I let go of every insecurity, every fear, every carefully constructed wall. I shattered in his arms, crying out his name like a prayer and a curse. He followed moments later, my name on his lips, his face buried in my neck. For long moments, we lay tangled together, hearts racing, trying to catch our breath. "That was," I started. "I know," he finished, rolling to his side but keeping me close. "I know." We made love twice more that night, once slow and tender, learning each other's rhythms, once fast and desperate, as if we could somehow hold back the dawn. But dawn came anyway. I woke to weak sunlight filtering through the curtains and a warm body pressed against my back. Jiwon's arm was draped over my waist, his breath steady against my neck. For one perfect moment, I let myself imagine a different life, one where I could wake up like this every morning, where last night wasn't goodbye, but reality crashed back in. My flight to Seoul left in 6 hours. The convent was expecting me. I carefully extracted myself from his embrace. He stirred but didn't wake, his face peaceful in sleep. Beautiful. I found my dress, my shoes, my phone. On the hotel notepad, I wrote, "Thank you for making me feel alive. M." I pressed my lipstick to my lips, then kissed the note, leaving a perfect dark rose imprint. One last look at him, this beautiful, dangerous man who'd given me the most perfect night of my life. Then I walked out the door. The flight to Seoul was a blur of regret and anticipation. I kept replaying every moment, his hands on my skin, his voice in my ear, the way he looked at me like I hung the moon. I also kept praying, begging God for forgiveness, asking for strength. By the time I landed at Incheon International Airport, I'd almost convinced myself it was just a moment of weakness, a last hurrah, before dedicating my life to something greater. Almost. Sister Catherine met me at arrivals, a thin, severe Korean woman with steel grey hair and eyes that missed nothing. "Sister Maya," she greeted me in perfect English. "Welcome to Seoul. Mother Superior is eager to meet you." The drive to Sacred Heart Chapel was a sensory overload. Seoul was massive, gleaming skyscrapers next to ancient temples, neon signs in Hangul, crowds that made LA look empty. I pressed my face to the window, trying to absorb it all. Culture shock? Sister Catherine asked, a hint of amusement in her voice. Beautiful shock, I corrected. The chapel sat on a hill overlooking the city. Traditional Korean architecture with a massive cross at its peak. The grounds were immaculate, filled with gardens and stone pathways. Welcome home, Sister Catherine said as we pulled through the gates. Home. Right. The next 2 days were a whirlwind of preparation. Meetings with Mother Superior, a formidable woman in her 70s who spoke 5 languages and seemed to see straight through me. You seem distracted, Sister Maya, she observed during our second meeting. Just nervous, Mother Superior. Those sharp eyes studied me. Nerves are normal. Doubt is normal. But you must be certain of your calling. The vows you take are sacred, eternal. I understand. Did I? I wasn't sure anymore. The other novices were kind but distant. I was the outsider, the black African sister joining their ranks. I caught the curious glances, the whispered conversations. But I focused on my prayers, my preparations, trying to bury the memory of dark eyes and skilled hands and the way it felt to be worshipped. Then came the day of my induction ceremony. I stood in my tiny cell, sparse white walls, a single bed, a crucifix, and stared at my reflection. The white habit, the veil, everything covered except my face. I looked like a stranger. You're doing the right thing, I told my reflection. You're safe here. You're wanted here. You belong here. But my reflection didn't look convinced. A knock on the door. Sister Maya, it's time. The chapel was packed. I hadn't expected that. Rows and rows of people, local families, dignitaries, other clergy members. The Sacred Heart induction was apparently a big deal in Seoul's Catholic community. I processed in with the other inductees, my hands clasped in prayer, my eyes on the massive crucifix above the altar. You are here to dedicate your lives to Christ, Mother Superior intoned, to forsake earthly desires and attachments, to become brides of the Lord. My heart was racing. Let us pray for these women as they take their sacred vows. The congregation bowed their heads, and that's when I felt it, the weight of someone's stare. I looked up. I shouldn't have, but I couldn't help it, and scanned the crowd. That's when I saw her first. A woman in a designer cream suit, her hair perfectly coiffed, dripping in diamonds. She was glaring at a man next to her, clearly forcing him to stay seated. The man was slouched in the pew, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else, his jaw tight with rebellion. And then he lifted his head. Our eyes met. Time stopped. No. No, 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 no. It was him. Jiwon, the man from Los Angeles, the man whose name I'd moaned 2 nights ago. The man whose touch I could still feel ghosting across my skin, here, in this chapel, watching me take vows. The shock in his eyes mirrored my own, but only for a second. Then his expression shifted into something darker, knowing, possessive. A slow, predatory smile curved his lips. My knees almost gave out. Sister Maya? Mother Superior's voice cut through the chaos in my mind. Are you ready to step forward? I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't look away from him. He was dressed in an expensive suit, his hair styled back, and he looked every inch the dangerous man I'd somehow missed that night. This wasn't just some businessman passing through LA. This was someone powerful, someone who didn't belong in churches, someone who was staring at me like I already belonged to him. Sister Maya, Mother Superior repeated, firmer this time. I forced my eyes away from him and stumbled forward to the altar. Somehow, I have no idea how, I made it through the ceremony. I knelt. I prayed. I repeated the vows. But every word felt like ash in my mouth, because I could feel his eyes on me, burning, claiming. When it was over, when Mother Superior placed the final veil on my head and declared me Sister Grace, I wanted to run. Instead, I had to stand in the receiving line as people congratulated us, as families took photos, as the weight of what I'd just done pressed down on me like a tombstone. I was a nun now, officially, eternally, and the man I'd given my body to 48 hours ago was walking toward me. The crowd seemed to part for him. People whispered as he passed. The woman in the designer suit, his mother, called after him sharply in Korean, but he ignored her. He stopped in front of me, hands in his pockets, that same dangerous smile playing on his lips. Sister Grace, he said, his voice low and intimate enough to send shivers down my spine. Congratulations on your vows. I couldn't speak. My mouth had gone dry. We need to talk, he continued, as casually as if we were discussing the weather. I don't think that's appropriate. Oh, I think it's very appropriate. He leaned in closer, lowering his voice so only I could hear. After all, we have so much to catch up on, don't we, Maya? The way he said my real name, like a secret, like a weapon, made my knees weak. Sister Grace, Mother Superior's voice rang out. Come, there are people who want to meet you. I seized the escape route, hurrying toward her, but as I walked away, I heard him say softly, I'll be waiting, as he slipped something into my hands. The reception was held in the chapel's garden, tables laden with Korean delicacies, traditional tea, small groups of people chatting in Korean and English. I tried to focus on the conversations, the congratulations, the welcoming faces of my new sisters, but I could feel him watching me from across the garden. Finally, after an eternity, Sister Catherine pulled me aside. Mother Superior wants you to greet some of our major benefactors. It's important for community relations. She led me toward a small group near the fountain, and my stomach dropped. The woman in the designer suit stood there, imperious and cold. Next to her, looking bored and dangerous in equal measure, was Jiwon. Sister Grace, Sister Catherine said brightly, oblivious to the tension. This is Mrs. Kang Misuk, one of our most generous donors, and her son, Kang Jiwon. Mrs. Kang's eyes swept over me with barely concealed disdain. The American sister? How interesting. It's an honor to meet you, I managed, bowing slightly. Ioma insisted I attend, Jiwon said lazily, his eyes never leaving my face. She thought it would be good for my soul. Your soul needs all the help it can get, Mrs. Kang snapped at him in English, then turned to me with a cold smile. You'll have to forgive my son, sister. He's not accustomed to appropriate behavior. I'm learning, Jiwon said, that dangerous smile returning. In fact, I think I'd like to learn more. About faith, about dedication. His eyes burned into mine. About sacrifice. Sister Catherine beamed. How wonderful. Sister Grace, perhaps you could show Mr. Kang around the gardens. Answer any questions he might have? No. No, no, no. I'm sure Mother Superior specifically asked that we accommodate the Kang family, Sister Catherine insisted. They've been so generous to Sacred Heart. Mrs. Kang looked annoyed, but waved dismissively. Go. Show him the gardens. Maybe some holiness will rub off. She said something sharp in Korean that made Jiwon's jaw tighten. He turned to me, offering his arm like a gentleman. "Shall we, sister?" I had no choice. I took his arm and felt electricity shoot through me at the contact. We walked in silence until we were far enough from the others that we wouldn't be overheard. The garden path led to a secluded area with stone benches and flowering trees. "You can drop the act now," I said, pulling my arm from his. "What are you doing here? I could ask you the same thing." He turned to face me fully, his expression unreadable. "A nun, Maya? Really? It's Sister Grace now. Is it?" He stepped closer. "Because 2 nights ago, you were Maya, moaning my name, begging me for more." My face burned. "Keep your voice down." "Why?" Another step closer. "Afraid someone will find out that their newest sister spent her last night of freedom in my bed, that she gave herself to me completely." "It was a mistake," I whispered harshly. "1 night. It didn't mean anything." His eyes went cold. "Didn't mean anything? I didn't know I'd ever see you again. I didn't know you were—" I gestured at him, at his expensive suit, at the way people had reacted to him. "Who are you really, Jiwon?" He laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You really don't know?" He pulled out his phone, typed something, and showed me the screen. It was a news article in Korean, but the photo was clear enough. Jiwon standing next to powerful-looking men in suits. The headline had words I recognized: Kang, and group, and heir. "I'm Kang Jiwon," he said simply. "Heir to Kang International Group. My family controls half the shipping in East Asia." He paused. "And some less legal enterprises." My blood ran cold. "Illegal?" My father built an empire. Not all of it was clean. His voice was matter-of-fact. "I was in LA to handle a business deal, arms negotiation with some very dangerous people." "You're a criminal." "I'm a businessman," he corrected. "The legality is flexible." I stepped back. "I can't. You need to leave. Stay away from me." "Can't do that." He moved forward, matching each step I took back until my back hit a tree. He braced his hands on either side of my head, caging me in. "You see, I have a problem, Sister Grace." "Don't call me that." "Why not? It's who you are now, isn't it?" His face was inches from mine. "But here's my problem. I can't stop thinking about you. I've tried. Believe me, I've tried. But every time I close my eyes, I see you, feel you, taste you." "Stop," I breathed, even as my body betrayed me, leaning toward him. "I don't do this," he continued, his voice dropping to a rough whisper. "I don't chase women. I don't think about them after they leave. But you—" He lifted one hand, tracing my cheekbone with his thumb. "You got under my skin, Maya. I took vows. I don't care. I'm a nun. You're a woman, hiding behind a habit." His thumb brushed over my bottom lip, and I gasped. "You're still her. Still Maya. Still the woman who surrendered herself to me completely. That woman is gone. Liar." He leaned in, his lips brushing my ear. "Your pulse is racing. Your breath is coming faster. You want this as much as I do." God help me. He was right. "We can't," I whispered, but I made no move to push him away. "We will." He pulled back, just enough to look into my eyes. "This isn't over, Maya. Not even close. I don't know what game fate is playing, putting you in my city, in my mother's favorite chapel, but I'm not walking away. You have to. Make me." It was a challenge, a dare. We stared at each other, the tension so thick I could barely breathe. Then voices, coming closer. Other guests walking the garden path. Jiwon stepped back immediately, his face smoothing into polite indifference. An elderly couple rounded the corner, smiling at us. "Such a beautiful garden, isn't it?" the woman said in accented English. "Beautiful," Jiwon agreed, his eyes still on me. "Absolutely beautiful." When they passed, he turned back to me. "I'll see you soon, Sister Grace." He started to walk away, then paused. "Oh, Amaya? You might want to check your phone. The one I'm guessing you're not supposed to have." My eyes widened. "How did you?" But he was already walking away, hands in his pockets, looking every inch the dangerous man he was. That night, alone in my cell, I pulled out the phone I'd hidden in my bag, the one I was supposed to have surrendered, but couldn't quite give up. There was one new message from an unknown number. "I'll be waiting. You know where to find me. J." Below it, an address, a time, tomorrow night. I should delete it, block the number, pray for strength. Instead, I stared at that message until my vision blurred. I took vows before God. I promised to forsake all earthly desires. I swore to dedicate my life to something higher, something pure. But as I lay in the darkness, all I could think about was the way Jiwon had looked at me in that garden, the way my body had responded to his nearness, the way my heart had screamed yes, even as my mind screamed no. I rolled over, clutching my rosary, and whispered a prayer into the darkness. But I wasn't praying for strength to resist temptation. I was praying that God would forgive me for what I was already planning to do. Because Kang Jiwon was right about one thing. This wasn't over, not even close. I closed my eyes, trying to will myself to sleep, to forget, to be the woman I'd promised to become. But then, my phone buzzed again. Another message. "P.S. You left something in my hotel room, something I think you'll want back." My heart stopped. I'd left nothing. I'd been careful. I'd taken everything. Another buzz. A photo loading. When it appeared on my screen, the rosary fell from my trembling fingers. It was a photo of a small gold locket, the one my grandmother had given me before she died, the one I thought I'd lost months ago, the one that had her picture inside, the only family heirloom I had left. But that wasn't what made my blood run cold. It was the next message. Found it tangled in my bedsheets. Funny how things have a way of binding us together, isn't it? "Come tomorrow, Maya, or I'll bring it to you. And I think Mother Superior would have questions about why your locket was in my bed." Don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and drop a comment. Do you think I should go to that address? What would you do in my situation? Let me know below. Before you go, where are you watching from? Do you want more of this podcast? Until next time, may your secrets stay buried and your sins stay delicious.